acting U.S. attorney who's been involved in this now for well over a year, said the amount of fraud under the Walz administration is breathtaking. It is $1 billion, and they are still counting. It could grow to as much as $2 billion.
That is Congressman Emmer from Minnesota, who made those comments to the Salem radio network. The defendants are accused of fraudulently claiming to be feeding millions of meals to children. Most of the defendants were Somalis. Meanwhile, President Trump says he doesn't want Somalis living in America because they're a drain on the country's social safety network.
The president ended his Tuesday cabinet meeting with a tirade against Somalia.
And high-capacity generators. Rich Thomason reporting.
The Cyber Monday numbers are in. Here's Bill Alexander.
U.S. shoppers spent $14.25 billion on Cyber Monday, pushing total online sales over the Thanksgiving weekend to $44.2 billion. That's according to an Adobe Analytics report, as consumers found offers on everything from gadgets to household essentials. Spending rose 7.7% during the so-called Cyber Week, the 5 days from Thanksgiving to Cyber Monday.
That is correspondent Bill Alexander reporting. You'll find breaking news and analysis at townhall.com. You may think it's a joke, but Jason Walker reports it happened in real life.
A raccoon has been able to break into a closed Virginia liquor store. The critter then drank booze from the bottom shelves over the weekend. Animal control officer says the raccoon was found passed out next to the store's toilet. The officers say the raccoon then sobered up after a few hours, and he was released back into the wild. Officials do say the raccoon probably had a massive hangover, but was otherwise okay. Jason Walker reporting.
Apple is urging the users of iPhone, iPad, and Mac to install the latest security update immediately. The patch fixes a zero-day flaw in WebKit that hackers exploited in a highly sophisticated attack. Experts say updating now is the best defense. You'll find more of these stories at townhall.com. From Washington, I'm Bob Agnew.
Your SRN program begins in 60 seconds. Your SRN program begins in 30 seconds. Your SRN program begins in 10 seconds. Your SRN program will begin in 5, 4.
He's not just the conservative voice at CNN. He's the last man standing athwart the leftist mob, delivering the fiery truth, surrounded, outnumbered, still undefeated. Fighting for free speech, Western civilization, and delivering common sense for the American people. Ladies and gentlemen, here's Scott Jennings.
All right, it's Wednesday, December the 3rd. This is Scott Jennings. I have to tell you, though, I'm not in the studio today. I'm traveling, but I am more than excited to present to you the one and only Mark Davis, filling in for me here on the Scott Jennings Show.
Well, talk about being made to feel welcome. Talk about hospitality. My goodness gracious, that's a tall honor. Thank you, Scott. And of course, the billboard of this show talks about doing the Lord's work here, the yeoman's job of filling the task of providing common sense to the American people. It is common sense that is right there at the focus of Scott's book title, and he every once in a while will be out doing some book promotion. And today is one of those days. And Scott's book, of course, go grab it on Amazon or wherever fine books are sold. ScottJenningsShow.com is probably a good destination. It is called A Revolution of Common Sense. A Revolution of Common Sense, how Donald Trump stormed Washington and fought for Western civilization. That is the Scott Jennings book. Go get it. This is the Scott Jennings Show. I'm Mark Davis. We have probably run into each other, perhaps mere hours ago. My gig is to do the Happy Morning Show at 6:60 a.m. The Answer here in Dallas-Fort Worth. But then the ancillary part of my gig is to fill in for virtually everybody else on the network, on SRN, on the Salem News Channel, et cetera, et cetera. So I was doing Larry Elder literally last night and then came in and did my show this morning. So I've just been doing a lot of broadcasting, and these are days in which you could do 2 or 3 shows a day and not run out of material. So let's take a look at today's material. We're going to get some good quality help in examining today's material. The great Alex Marlow will join us at the bottom of this hour, so we'll talk with him about various things in the news and various things in a fine book that he has out, as a matter of fact. So as we gather together to do all these things, again, ScottJenningsShow.com is the place to go for all things Scott, and he will be back tomorrow. So thank you, Matt Van Epps. Thank you, God. Thank you, voters of Tennessee 7. In fact, let me take you back to last night. I'm doing the final hour of the Larry Elder Show, and I'm getting ready for the polls to close in Tennessee. And I know, as any of you who follow these things will know, and just as a novice or a practiced veteran of watching election returns come in this era of early voting, the largely ridiculous extended windows of early voting, but hey, play the field the way it's striped, right? The first thing that happens is a dump of the early voting. So the first thing that'll happen, and a lot of times early voting will be 25, 30% of the entire total, sometimes more. So at just a couple of moments after the polls close, boom, there it is. And Matt Van Epps has about a 7-point lead on this Afton Bain person. And I'm thinking, okay, great, because how often, does the election day total differ so precipitously from what the early vote is? It tends to echo it. I mean, there can be some shading, a little favor somebody one way, favor somebody the other. But that was a good omen. Then I guess Davidson County, which contains Nashville, it is not your dad's Nashville. This is not the Nashville of old. This is not the Nashville of George Jones. It's not even the Nashville of George Strait. It's the Nashville of George Floyd, I guess, if you wanted to continue that trifecta. And by that, all I really mean is that Ms. Bain won Davidson County by like 85-15. What is up in Nashville, kids? Come on. And so that vote dump at that time, and I guess maybe being the big county, the big city, those just got into the pipeline early. And then all of a sudden, Afton Bain has like this 6-7% lead. And everybody's freaking out in 12 languages, and I'm getting texts. I'm sitting there trying to do a talk show and getting 14 texts. Oh, he's going to lose. He's going to lose. It's going to be terrible watching Morning Joe tomorrow. They're going to be dancing in the streets. I went, sit tight, sit tight, sit tight. Let's wait for all this to come in. There are many, many, many rural counties to go. There's Williamson County, which contains the good town of Franklin. Speaking of talk show hosts, I think that's where my buddy Dave Ramsey lives. That's a good conservative enclave, so let's just wait for this to happen. And then it wasn't but a few minutes before it was dead even. He had completely pulled even, like 49-49. And I thought this was a good omen. And by the time I left the air at 9 o'clock Eastern, 8 o'clock Central last night doing the Elder show, had he been declared the winner already? I think close to it. He was up to a 7-8, wound up being a 9% win. It wasn't even close. But, there's always a big but. Is that 9%? This is the question of the day. I have an answer to the question of the day. Yours may differ. By the way, obviously, ScottJenningsShow.com for all things Scott. If you're looking to get any kind of proximity to me in the online world, best place is the old X, the old Twitter. That is at Mark Davis, M-A-R-K Davis. Thank you very much. Appreciate interacting with folks there and seeing what you guys are thinking. The question of the day is, a 9% win by Matt Van Epps, is that A, absolutely awesome, glad it wasn't a nail biter, all the smart kids said he was going to lose, so we're really happy, or B, oh my gosh, it's a daunting wake-up call, because Trump won this district by 20-some points just 2 short years ago. Okay. Matter of fact, you're going to hear Scott himself make this point, because it seems like if I'm doing the Scott Jennings show, I ought to play some Scott audio, and Lord knows the world is always full of Scott audio on any given morning or any given midday. There's always fresh evidence of him having slapped somebody down on CNN. It's just the most glorious thing. How does he keep that gig? Listen, as a conservative broadcaster, I've spent years delivering the requisite nut kicks to CNN, and deservedly so. But I confess to a certain fondness for those folks for keeping Scott around. Him and Harry Enton, the poll guy who has to deliver all kinds of bad news to libs, especially lately. Although Harry was looking at some poll stuff last night, and I think he had a mild brain belch or something, because he said that this 9% is indicative of a coming Democrat wave, a coming blue wave. And I guess if you look at this just about a millimeter deep and say, okay, when Mark Green ran last time, the retiring congressman who created this vacancy, and Trump was on the ballot, it was like a 23-point or 22-point win. And now it's a 9-point win. That's a 13-point slide. Well, I know some of this is math, but a lot of it is art, is ethereal, cloudy, nebulous, subjective stuff. Trump's not on the ballot anymore. He'll never be on a ballot again. And I think Scott's going to make that point as well. I'm going to let him here in a minute. Stop paraphrasing him. Play the man. It's every election is different. Is this some big, massive, nationalized referendum on Trump? I've yammered enough now. I'm going to take it to the break. We'll come back. We'll play it after the pause, because I think it runs up almost 2 minutes. the nationalization of every election is something that dropped into my lap today in a story that you'll be hearing about. You probably already have, and that is California Congressman Darrell Issa moving to my neighborhood, almost quite literally my neighborhood, Texas 32. This has never happened in history. Never happened in history. Where somebody's sitting in an existing congressional seat and says, you know what? I think I'm going to go run in another seat in another state this next exact adjacent time. Word is, he'll be meeting with President Trump in the Oval Office this evening, and then after that, we'll get what should constitute an actual announcement. But I had Congressman Issa on my show this morning. I got some excerpts I'll play for you. I asked him, where'd this idea come from? And it's the push and pull redistricting wars between California and Texas. But this was a nationalized race in Tennessee last night. Huge national ramifications coming off every congressional seat these days. Is that good or bad? Well, just one of the things to consider. Mark Davis in for Scott. ScottJenningsShow.com for more info on Scott. Again, I'm Mark Davis in for Scott. We'll be right back on this Wednesday.
Get 75% off WebRoot Total Protection at webroot.com/MikeG. That's 75% off, but only for a limited time. Black Friday through Cyber Monday is the busiest shopping time of the year. For hackers and identity thieves, it's basically the Super Bowl. Don't wait around until something goes wrong. Get protected now. With this exclusive discount, WebRoot Total Protection is less than $50 for the whole year. That's all-in-one protection. Devices, identity, privacy, even backup for under $50. Peace of mind for $50? Honestly, that might be the best gift you give yourself this year. Go to webroot.com/MikeG for 75% off, but only for a limited time.
Hey, it's Scott Jennings. Do you know how I'll be celebrating America's 250th birthday next 4th of July? Well, I'm planning to watch Young Washington, a new film about the early life of George Washington. We know him as the general or the president, but this movie tells the story of the young man, how he faced failure, made mistakes, found courage, and developed leadership that would one day shape a nation. This is a story of character, grit, and moral backbone, the very qualities we need in our leaders today. Here's why I'm sharing this now. Your early support determines how many theaters will show this movie next summer. The more tickets we pre-sell, the bigger the release for America's 250th birthday. Directed by John Irwin, this film will inspire the whole country. As a premium Angel Guild member, you'll lock in 2 free tickets, exclusive behind-the-scenes updates from Irwin and cast members like Andy Serkis and Ben Kingsley, plus you get full access to Angel's library. Let's make Young Washington the #1 movie in America. Go to angel.com/Scott today.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-555-2085. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-555-2085. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-555-2085. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. Call 800-555-2085 or biglou.com.
Hey, it's Scott Jennings. You know, in our household, we have 3 great dogs. Elvis J. Bulldoggington, Fiona the Pug, and Baxter the Super Terrier. So we're going to the vet, just like you. And sometimes you go to the vet, you get another diagnosis, and you get another expensive treatment that may not even work. You're back in the treatment room. Your dog is shaking with anxiety, and you're shaking. How much is this going to cost me, you wonder? Is it even going to work? Most canine health problems, though, have one common root cause, a weakened immune system. That's why naturopathic Dr. Dennis Black created Rough Greens.
Greens. It breaks the vet visit cycle with the live nutrients that your dog needs to thrive from the inside out. That's why it's America's #1 dog supplement. We give it to our dogs, Elvis, Fiona, and Baxter. They love it. Their health is terrific. We could not be happier. Thousands of pet parents are getting off the vet visit merry-go-round, and they're seeing the difference. Try it yourself with a free Jumpstart trial bag. You just cover the shipping, because the best doctor visit is the one you never have to make. Go to roughgreens.com, ruffgreens.com. Use promo code Scott. Break the vet visit cycle today.
Do you owe $10,000 or more in credit card debt or personal loans? With credit card debt at all-time highs, Debt Relief Advocates is urgently notifying consumers of debt relief now being made available, designed to aid consumers with out-of-control credit card debt. Those who qualify and enroll for this relief program will only have to pay back a fraction of what they owe. This is not bankruptcy or a debt consolidation loan. This is a relief program that credit card companies would rather you not know about, as it ends your debt nightmare and saves you lots of money. Consumers owing at least $10,000 in credit card debt or personal loans can now take advantage of this debt relief as the cost of living skyrockets. Debt Relief Advocates has established a relief hotline for you to call to learn what debt reduction you may qualify for, so don't wait. For this free information, call the Relief Hotline at 800-515-1865. 800-515-1865. 800-515-1865.
So Pure Talk is offering unlimited talk, text, and data on a crazy fast 5G network for just $29.95 a month for life. Not your phone's life, your life. This top-tier plan is normally $65 a month, but if you switch today, you'll save over 50% every month for the rest of your life. You might say it's the deal of your lifetime. Just dial pound 250, say Mike Rowe. Offer expires 12/7. Some restrictions apply. Details at puretalk.com.
Leaving the leftists saying hamina, hamina, hamina. Yeah, this is the Scott Jennings Show.
Oh, has Caitlin Collins or Abby or any of those folks, have they actually said hamina, hamina? I don't know. We'll hear Scott on CNN with Caitlin last night talking about the reaction to the defeat of Afton Bain. And Caitlin's point, she says, hey, all this stuff about defunding the police, wasn't that way back in the distant past when she was a private citizen? I cannot wait to use that private citizen. Well, first of all, I won't need to. I can't wait till the next person tries. I've offered up advice to everybody. Say something incredibly repulsive. Say something repugnant. Say something that is political suicide while you've just got a real job. And then when you run for something later on, just step away from it and just sidestep it and say, you know, I was a private citizen. I was a private citizen when I said those completely repugnant things. See how that works out for you. Well, first, about 15 seconds of the guy who did actually win. It's funny because in describing this, both on the local show and some other places where I was, speaking with people on a national platform, I said, okay, Matt Van App's over Afton Bain. Can he win? The William F. Buckley rule in primaries is vote for the most conservative person who can win. I got sort of some pushback about Mr. Van App, some sour grapes. Maybe there were some more conservative people who were running there in Texas 7, the Republican primary. Maybe, but guess what? They didn't win. Matt Van Epps did. So at that point, that's when it's time to stop whining about whether the guy who won is a rhino or a squish. Listen, I'm all about identifying rhinos and squishes. Once they're in office and doing things and trying to get them to lean right and lean into the Trump agenda, et cetera, et cetera. But if it's election time and the choices are Matt Van Epps and Afton Bain, there's zero conservative argument for holding on to your bad blood about the primary because Matt Van Apps wasn't conservative enough for you. So in terms of how Matt Van Apps feels about Trump, here's about 15, 20 seconds of him in his victory remarks last night.
I say this to my friends in the liberal media and to the professional panickers in my own party. Tonight we showed running from Trump is how you lose. Running with Trump is how you win.
Ta-da! A good lesson for all. Speaking of good lessons, here let's enjoy the man whose name is on this show, Scott Jennings. Last night, CNN, his analysis. Go.
Well, first of all, there's lessons to be learned from everything. When you win, there's lessons. When you lose, there's lessons. And so I'm sure they'll look and see who turned out and what messages were effective and which ones weren't, and that'll be something the party can move going forward. It's an off-year special election. The turnout matrix is far different than a presidential, and it'll be different than what comes out in November. So you can take nothing for granted, of course, and Republicans do have historical headwinds. I still think they are in position to make an argument that their economic theories are better than the Democrats' theories. And Democrats, after all, took prices to the moon, and now they want to forget the last 4 years and pretend like this just started 10 months ago. I think most voters know that's patently ridiculous. I do have a slight disagreement with David. I do think we'll hear from her again. I think she'll run again, and I think she and her brand of politics are the median Democrat. This is the basic Democrat you're going to get in most races around the country. This person running on defund the police, radical progressive positions, whether you're in Nashville or Manhattan or Florida or California, wherever you happen to be, this is what the Democratic base wants. The most cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs person they can find, and they're going to look at these results and say, hey, this is how we got so close, so let's replicate it around the country. I think we'll hear from her and her kind for the next year. I don't think it'll be good for Democrats.
But can I ask you on that? Because you said that she ran on defund the police. There were her past comments on that, but she said that was basically when she was a private citizen, before she was representing the state legislature. I mean, that wasn't like a core tenet of her campaign. She talked about affordability. So I think my question is do you really think that's what every Democrat looks like? I mean, I don't think that was the main, that was something that a criticism of hers, obviously, in past comments, but that wasn't the, tenet of her campaign or anything.
She got asked about it repeatedly and refused to back away from it. And look, I'm just telling you, this is what Democrats believe, and this is what their base wants. It's why she wouldn't go back on it. I was just a private citizen. Oh, my gosh, we've never held what you said as a private citizen against you in a political campaign. For goodness sakes, what a ridiculous way to just maintain a position that nobody likes. This is the median Democrat position. She is the median Democrat candidate, and that's what their base wants. So that's what we're in for, and Republicans need to draw bright lines on this stuff in every race in the country.
Yeah, we'll see what the takeaways are. Scott Jennings, David Urban,
There we go. All righty, there's Scott. But I think there's a reason Scott has this gig. I think there's a reason God has placed him in our lives. It's just tremendous. All righty, so speaking of which, Jasmine Crockett, who I'm sure you've heard of, there's buzz that on Monday she may announce for something like what House seat she'll run for, because we've had redistricting, of course, or maybe a possible run for Senate. And I've said, no, that's just not going to happen. And I've been affectionately scolded by people saying, no, please stop talking. Let her run. We could always use more Democrat lunatics. It works out well for us. Mark Davis in for Scott Jennings. Sit tight. We'll be right back.
Family life is a crazy adventure filled with love and laughter. But it can also be demanding with work schedules, after-school activities, and trying to remember where you put your keys. It leaves you wondering, where does the time go? With so much going on, it can be easy to lose sight of your family's well-being. Balance of Nature fruits and veggie supplements offer an easy way to get a wide variety of whole food ingredients for your whole family. Don't let a busy schedule get in the way of your family's well-being. Start your journey with Balance of Nature supplements today. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go to balanceofnature.com and sign up as a new preferred customer to get 35% off your first preferred set with free shipping and our money-back guarantee. That's 1-800-246-8751. Don't wait. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this special offer by using discount code ERIC.
Cybercrime spikes during the holidays, especially around Black Friday and Cyber Monday. Falling victim to a scam is the last thing anyone needs. That's why now is the perfect time to protect yourself and your family with WebRoot Total Protection. Keep your devices safe, your identity secure, and your privacy locked down. Right now, you can get 75% off WebRoot Total Protection at webroot.com/MikeG. That's 75% off, but only for a limited time. Black Friday through Cyber Monday is the busiest shopping time time of the year. For hackers and identity thieves, it's basically the Super Bowl. Don't wait around until something goes wrong. Get protected now. With this exclusive discount, WebRoot Total Protection is less than $50 for the whole year. That's all-in-one protection. Devices, identity, privacy, even backup for under $50. Peace of mind for $50? Honestly, that might be the best gift you give yourself this year. Go to webroot.com/MikeG for 75% off, but only for a limited time.
Let's see, if something costs less, a lot less, but people are actually happier with it, that sounds like something to look into, and that's MetaShare. Maybe you've heard joining MetaShare can save you or your family up to $500 a month, and that's huge, but it's also true. People are just happier with it. They love being part of something that reflects and promotes their values and what they believe in. MetaShare works, too. It's been around for 30 years now, and members have shared more than $7 billion of each other's bills. People love having telehealth and a huge nationwide PPO network, so yeah, really, you can save a ton and like it better. Imagine being happy with how you're taking care of your health care, whether you're self-employed or part of the gig economy, or you just want a plan that you're happy with. Here you go. You can call right now and get a price within 2 minutes. A very, very smart use of 2 minutes. Here's the number you need. It's 833-34-BIBLE. That's 833-34-BIBLE. 833-34-BIBLE.
Everyone is watching major movements ripple through the markets these days, sparked by new policy shifts out of Washington and activity from the Federal Reserve. Americans have faced uncertainty before, and every time we've found our footing again. The real secret to long-term financial peace is simple. Keep your eyes on the horizon and understand the fundamentals that drive real stability. That's exactly why Advantage Gold is inviting you to call 800-741-GOLD right now. We'll send you a free Gold IRA rollover kit, along with a complimentary copy of economist Ken Rogoff's insightful book, Our Dollar, Your Problem. Inside, you'll learn how to defend your retirement savings against inflation, market swings, and reckless fiscal policies, with tangible assets like precious metals that have preserved wealth for centuries. It's no wonder Advantage Gold has been America's #1 gold company for the past decade. Take a smart step toward protecting what you've earned. Call 800-741-GOLD. That's 800-741-4653. Consult your financial advisor before investing. Call 800-741-GOLD.
The following is not an actor, but a real-life story from Trinity Debt Management.
My debt problem started probably about 2016. I needed my life to change financially. I called Trinity, and I ended up joining based on high credit card bills and high interest rate. And my counselor at Trinity has been great, and Trinity has been helping me to get on the right path of paying off these credit card bills, bringing down the interest rate. They have consolidated my bills into one low monthly payment. And now I am finally getting out of credit card debt. So I just want to say thank you, Trinity, for showing me a better and greater path.
If you're in debt and you need help, call Trinity at 1-800-793-8548.
My name is Sharon, and soon I will be debt-free for keeps.
1-800-793-8548.
Space Force Commander Matt Lohmeyer stood up against the Marxist agenda threatening our military.
Your ideology doesn't matter one bit.
Share your pronouns in your email.
He knew that if he didn't speak up, no one else was going to speak up.
Initiate difficult conversations about racial and gender barriers.
Race identity politics, critical race theory, white fragility, white guilt.
Don't miss the new movie Call Sign Courage, the Matt Lohmeyer story.
We need lethality in the military, period.
Watch it now or buy the DVD at salemnow.com.
Quelling leftist arguments with truth and common sense. They hate that. This is the Scott Jennings Show.
Yes, they do, and that's a testament to Scott's skill. And what a joy it is to be in for Scott today. Mark Davis with you, the happy morning host at 660 a.m. The Answer here in DFW. And a big fan and listener of Alex Marlow, and he shows up on our various platforms in various forms. Big fan of his book, Breaking the Law. Got to make sure you get a hold of that. Breaking the Law, subtitled Exposing the Weaponization of America's Legal System Against Donald Trump. It is time to welcome Breitbart News Editor-in-Chief Alex Marlow. Alex, how you doing, sir? Welcome.
Mark, it's great to talk to you. Glad to be on the Jennings Show with you.
Nice to have you. Well, let me ask you the musical question of the day. Which is true after that 9-point win by Matt Van Epps? Is that either a fantastic, solid, great night, keeping it red, defying expectations kind of fist pump, or is it a daunting cause of concern because it's not as big a margin as the district went 2 years ago?
It's a fantastic question. We've been talking about this in the Breitbart newsroom all morning. I think a victory is a victory. I think Marsha Blackburn lost this district by a smaller margin. So if you look at it in that context, the margin arguably grew. But it does raise the clear red flag for Republicans is that we don't do as well when Donald Trump isn't on the ballot. But, of course, in these far-off year elections, the base Democrat voters, the type of people who are excited about people who want to defund the police and are activists who get arrested, causing disturbances in public places, as Afton Bain did, then those are the exact type of people who are going to show up and vote. And Republicans and conservatives do a very poor job of getting our lower propensity voters out in these types of elections. All of that to say, I think this is a positive day, and if anything, I think the signs are slightly better than I thought going into yesterday.
I think they are, too. I agree with you. And so let's do what everybody's focus is and what everybody's priority list is topped with, and that's what to do, what is smart to do, doing smart things, avoiding dumb things on the way toward the midterms. And let's go to what seems to be the subject du jour, and that's affordability. It's obviously smart for Republicans to hop on the affordability train and talk about ways in which conservatism can help people with their affordability problem. I've got a concern. I don't want affordability to eat so much of the oxygen that we're not able to remind people that Democrats still believe there are 47 genders, still weep crocodile tears for narco-terrorists. So I'm just looking at how to slice the pie. What do you think?
Yeah, you're so right about this. And this is why we should have been ahead of this one, because I'm a media expert, analyst first. Above all else, that's the thing that I feel like I've done the most and the best over my career in journalism, and understanding how the left manipulates language and controls language and tries to control narrative. And, for example, all this Venezuela talk, it's interesting. We go very deep on the Venezuela story at Breitbart. We have a Venezuela-based reporter. We have great international coverage. That story is moving so much slower than the media would have you believe. The media would have you believe is just constant, mile a minute. There's so much interesting stuff happening. There's nothing interesting happening. The Department of War blew up some drug boats, and it should be business as usual for the Department of War. And yet they managed to get us to talk about it for days on end. That's an example of the traps that are set. So we need to make sure we're doing our best to control the conversation. And we're going to have to talk about this issue. But how do we talk about it? First of all, affordability was created by Democrats overspending, deficit spending, stimulus checks going out, the Inflation Reduction Act with grew inflation, the Biden inflation spending trillions of dollars we need to spend. All of that, we need to hone that messaging. And then we need to come up with some proactive solutions. I think that would be a good thing. Scott Besson, who I sat down with on my podcast for an hour last week, he said he thinks inflation is going to go to zero next year. If that's true, it's going to be massive for us. But I do think you're right that we can't let the people who think there are 47 genders take over the conversation because they've found a code word that is resonating and they can pin on us, which is affordability.
I really like Besant. I think he's one of the best message deliverers in Trump 2.0. When I hear him say things, when I hear you talk about things like that, it just scares me to death because it's either going to happen or it's not. And it's like where the expectation is placed. If he's walking around saying inflation goes to 0 and it goes to 2, they'll dog him for it.
Yeah, and that's exactly what's going on now. And where I think I understand why he's trying that approach, a positive approach, is because I think we're, as a MAGA movement, as a conservative movement, getting a little bit bummed out because we spend a lot of time online and maybe one of our favorite issues hasn't been fully addressed. But the left created this standard that inflation has to go to 0. Inflation's dropped a lot, and we're not getting credit for that. So it is all a messaging war, and there's not always easy answers to these questions. But I'll tell you what's happening now is that the economy is getting better. Inflation has gone down. And spending was, Black Friday, record Black Friday spending. That's not the sign of an insecure people, insecure about the economy. And yet we don't spend much time on that stuff. We spend time on things that are controlled by the opposition.
So the opposition at the moment has developed this enormous empathy for, and this hand-wringing crocodile tear capacity for those who are, in Jessica Tarlov's words, shipwrecked, as if it's a Gilligan's Island lost episode. They are not shipwrecked. They were blown to bits and managed to be hanging on to the vestiges that are left of a boat that was on the way with a nefarious purpose to America. If you don't get them all on the first strike, you do a second strike. This is simple stuff. How is this playing out okay? Will this problem go away in a couple of days?
Yeah, I think so. I think this is just the hysteria du jour. I think this is the proverbial 80-20 or even a 97-3 issue. I think if you stopped an American on the street and you ask them, hey, do you think that it's justifiable for the Department of War to blow up a boat that is clearly operated by cartels to import drugs that are killing hundreds of thousands of Americans every year? Are you okay with that? Of course, everyone's going to say yes to that. Virtually everyone will say yes. But if you allow for the messaging, for us to lose the messaging war, then perhaps the left feels like they can get some progress here, but I think this is a trap. I think the White House has laid out a pretty good trap here. I think they're very comfortable talking about this issue, and the media thinks they're going to get him. But I feel like this is kind of a Abrego Garcia Part 2, where they thought they had Trump dead to rights on that, and the more we learned about the guy, the more we learned that he really was MS-13, he was a human smuggler and all that stuff. So this has heavy Abrego Garcia vibes to me.
I think that's a superb take. Well, sort of staying in the Venn diagram of military things, I can't get the video of the seditious six out of my head. I don't know if Mark Kelly's running for president. If so, I don't think it's working out so well. But on Breitbart, listen, we're talking to Alex Marlow. Let's go right to the front page, the landing page of Breitbart. What is the deal with Mark Warner on Morning Joe this morning on BS Now or whatever they're calling that network, where after the seditious six say, psst, hey, military, you know you don't really have to obey unconstitutional or illegal orders, without naming anything specifically. Here's Mark Warner this morning with, I want to paraphrase him correctly, saying, quote, the uniformed military may help save us from Trump. What in God's name is he talking about?
Completely wild. They're allowed to get away with this. They're sort of powerless and pathetic if you look at it in a vacuum. But I like to look at the broader context here, and I wrote about this in my recent book, because I know we've talked about breaking the law, where I go into how the left hates democracy. They're the ones who claim they're the stewards of democracy. They hate democracy. Trump won the election to become the commander-in-chief of our military. He did it with the popular vote, the electoral college, all the swing states. Whatever your favorite measure of this, he did it. And with that, he gets to control the military. And for them to suggest that uniformed military should defy the commander-in-chief is blatantly anti-democratic. And yet these are the guys who go around and say they love democracy so much. Of course they're calling for a coup. They want chaos within our military. They want America to be a weaker place. And they want Donald Trump undermined at every turn. And I just hope the public can see what they're doing and see the hypocrisy and see how devastating this would be if there were people like you and me out there messaging like this if there was a Democrat president.
Let me hop into the pages of Breaking the Law, because, again, the subtitle is Exposing the Weaponization of America's Legal System Against Donald Trump. One would have thought that once he won, that this problem would go away. It's better now that those who are seeking to destroy him legally have failed, at least on one level, but it's not like these scoundrels are at rest.
Yeah, exactly right. And that's actually one of the main warnings in the book. The other warning is that we all need to stay engaged and on war footing all the time, or else we could lose these special elections that really do matter. But the other one is that the lawfare superstructure never sleeps. They're working 24/7. They're always trying for the next angle. They're trying for the next approach. And thus far, in the first year of the Trump administration, they've been by far his biggest foil. It's these judges and justices that have been installed by either left-wing electorates, left-wing money, or just being able to manipulate the system with the George Soroses of the world. And I introduced you to a lot of the people who finance the lawfare superstructure. This has been being built for a long time, and this is exactly their way to undermine the Trump administration. Of course, they wanted to bankrupt him. They wanted to jail him. They failed at that. Thank God they failed at it, but it doesn't mean they're done. They see this as the path to enshrine a permanent majority.
All right, Alex Marlow, last couple of minutes, I want you to put your thinking caps on. I want to run a story by you that's dropped right into my lap. Midterms are next year, redistricting wars between my state of Texas and the state of California. I had longtime Congressman Darrell Issa on this morning. Maybe you've heard the little buzz about this, that he is thinking about leaving his now endangered district because of Prop 50 and changing districts. Not in California, in Texas. He'd be the first congressman ever to change states and immediately seek to serve a district in another entire state. Now, my question for you is this. I got two reactions that are marinating as we talked about this. One is gratitude, because somebody with his track record, his money, his street cred could come in and really lock down a return of a blue district to red. So that's a good thing. The other thing is some locals are flat out offended. Like, what? There's nobody in the Texas talent pool where we've got to import a California guy? So who's right? How does that strike you at first blush?
Well, I think both of can both those sides be right? I mean, this is why I'm smiling if you can hear it through the radio, because it's such a fun thing to think about. I really have affection for Congressman Issa. I think he's a real American original, and we'd be sad to lose him. But we don't deserve anything out here in California. I'm out in California, by the way.
Wow,
so
that's cold.
Yeah. Well, we don't. And look, I'm here. I'm fighting the good fight out here, but we certainly don't deserve him. So,
well, first of all, you're right.
But
I think you're right. I think with 30 seconds, I'm sorry. I think you're totally right. Both sides have an absolutely decent point. What I want to start doing is marketing the T-shirts that have the state of California and quote, "We don't deserve anything." Alex Marlow, Breitbart. I'm start marketing.
I'd rather have a carpetbagger who is great than someone who is homegrown and so-so. But that said, all else being equal, of course, you want the homegrown.
There you go. The book is Breaking the Law. Alex Marlow, read everything at Breitbart. It is awesome to talk to you, sir. Thank you very much for being on the Scott Jennings Show.
And you. This is a blast. Thank you.
It's Alex Marlow. It's California. We don't deserve anything. Well, I'm Mark Davis in for Scott. We'll be right back.
Fighting the left with the best weapon we have, common sense. This is the Scott Jennings Show.
Hey, it's Scott Jennings. Since I've been endorsing Pure Talk, I've never heard anything like this before, and I got to tell you about it. Unlimited talk, unlimited text, unlimited data, and a 30-gig hotspot. That's the deal. $29.95 a month, less than $30 for life, forever. This is the top-tier plan from Pure Talk. It would normally be $65 a month. Right now, through December 7th, $29.95 a month. You get all of it every month. For life. You're saving over 50% a month. It's on a crazy fast 5G network. Here's what you do. You dial pound 250 and say Scott Jennings, and you get Pure Talk's best unlimited plan, $29.95 a month for life. This does not run out. There is no end. It is for life. Dial pound 250. Say Scott Jennings. Switch to my wireless company on their best deal today, Pure Talk. Taxes and fees not included. Some restrictions apply. See puretalk.com for details. Offer ends December 7, 2025.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Hi, I'm Chuck McDowell, the timeshare cancellation guy. In 2011, I founded Wesley Financial Group with one goal in mind, to help honest folks out of their timeshares permanently. Today, I run Wesley with my two sons, a real family business, treating every client and every employee like we'd want our own family treated. That philosophy has helped us grow into the largest, most trusted timeshare cancellation company in the United States. Fortune magazine even recognized us as one of the best places to work. Why? Because we genuinely care. In fact, some of our former clients were so moved by their experience working with us, they joined our team so they could help others to timeshare freedom. If you're stuck in a timeshare, give us a call. Let our family help your family.
Call Wesley now for your free timeshare exit kit. 800-822-1716. 800-822-1716. 800-822-1716.
In a shocking new 5-part series from Kevin Sorbo, Prescription to Kill reveals a lethal FDA cover-up.
Americans have witnessed a dramatic rise in mass killings. At a school, a house of worship, a crowded theater, a packed concert, leaving behind a trail of death and destruction. But what's behind this sudden surge of lethal violence? One determined researcher cracked open the FDA vault, exposing for the first time secret files linking prescription drugs to mass shootings and infamous murders.
There is a reason that we are the leader in unprovoked mass murder in this country, and it's our over-prescription of psychiatric drugs. There's no doubt about it.
In Prescription to Kill, we investigate the hidden connection between the pharmaceutical industry and America's culture of violence.
What their doctor doesn't know could kill you. Discover the truth that could save many lives. Don't miss Prescription to Kill. Watch it now on salemnow.com. That's salemnow.com.
Hi, everyone. Gina Bellich here with the Legal Help Center. And we have a special guest with us today, Super Bowl champ Vernon Davis. So, Vernon, tell all of our radio listeners who should call right now.
Well, Gina, first off, thank you for having me join you here in the studio. Now, as far as who should call in, anyone who's been injured in an accident and think you deserve compensation, give us a call right now and find out how much money you could potentially get.
Thanks, Vernon. You heard it, folks. If you've been injured in an accident and think you deserve compensation, give us a call right now and find out how much money you could potentially get. Call 800-504-8790. That's 800-504-8790. 800-504-8790. Advertisement sponsored by Legal Help Center. May not be available in all states.
Hi, Rhett Rasmussen of BestHotGrill.com. Step up your grilling game with our Solaire portable infrared grills. Our compact everywhere is a favorite of RVers and trailer pullers. Solaire infrared provides the quick sear for bar marks and texture needed to properly finish sous vide. Use a portable alongside your larger conventional grill to create an instant sear zone and more juicy and flavorful food. Learn more at BestHotGrill.com. Affordable, powerful, portable infrared grills at BestHotGrill.com.
You've heard the narratives. Now get the truth. It's the Scott Jennings Show.
With a little Texas fill-in flavor. Is this for me? Is this Sean throwing me a little something with the boys of ZZ Top? Oh my gosh. Mark Davis said for Scott. Scott's back tomorrow. It has been a great joy. So listen, with Alex and I just having talked about Scott Bessent, I am a fan of optimism. I am a fan of confidence. It is such an odd time, and the electorate can be so squirrely sometimes that when I see the Scott Bessent burst of confidence about the economy in the first and even the second quarter of 2026, I have two feelings at the same time. One is, yeah, it's inspiring. Absolutely. Let's go. And the other one is, oh, please, just please let this happen. Let me let you hear Scott. I think this is on a panel that the New York Times threw together, so that's good. Scott Bessent on voicing that optimism that Alex and I were just talking about.
You had what was one of the greatest scandals of all time, that the coverage of the Biden administration, Joe Biden's diminished capacity, and the cover-up.
And that's why it's probably fair to raise these questions.
Where was the New York Times? We just had a 3-hour cabinet meeting yesterday, Andrew. For 10 months, the Biden administration did not have a cabinet meeting. How are you going to invoke the 25th Amendment if the cabinet secretaries never see the president, which they didn't? That, I hear from people in the Treasury building that I see President Trump more in a day than my predecessor saw Joe Biden in half a year. So
I had two Bessent clips, and that was the adjacent one, my bad. But and actually, that's better because it gives me one other thing to talk about that Bessent talked about with such skill. He is clearly confident, thinks the first and second quarter are going to be great. And he was also asked to address what is sort of the hoax of the moment. So what happened during that? Again, that's a marathon cabinet meeting, right? And at some point, President Trump looked down at a piece of paper, closed his eyes for a minute, and the media chorus exploded. It's just like Biden. He's just as infirm. He is just as incoherent. He is in exactly the same type of decline. Good grief, people. Really, does anyone dare to step forward and try to offer up a comparison in vitality, a comparison in coherence, a comparison in energy between Trump and Biden? Let us stipulate that as Trump approaches his 80th birthday, June 14th next year, Flag Day. That'll be awesome. That might not be the vitality of 40-year-old Trump, but 80-year-old Trump does portray the vitality of many, many people who are decades younger, and any attempt to step forward and throw some type of shade at his faculties, some type of doubt as to his energy and vitality is going to fail as deeply as virtually everything else Democrats are trying. Speaking of Democrat failure, let's go to Minneapolis to finish this up. Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey. The clever line of the moment is, get ready, Minneapolis. It's going to be an icy winter. Get it? Ice. Because we might be doing something about the Somali population. And Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey, not happy.
He's wrong, and we want them here. Somali people have been an extraordinary benefit. I'll say it again. Somali people have been a benefit to our city for longer than I have been in our city. They have started businesses and created jobs. They have added to the cultural fabric of what Minneapolis is. They were welcoming to me when I first came out to Minneapolis. In fact, they were one of the first groups that I myself got to know. To, again, villainize an entire group is ridiculous under any circumstances. And the way that Donald Trump is consistently doing it, I think, calls into question major constitutional violations, and it certainly violates the moral fabric of what we stand by in this country as Americans.
Major constitutional violations? Excuse me? A lesson people need to be taught from time to time. Something doesn't become unconstitutional just because it triggers you. Also, is Mayor Frey correct? Have Somalis been of value to Minneapolis? Of course they have. Many have. And a whole lot of them are scam artists, and a whole lot of them are not assimilating, and a whole lot of them hate America. Some of them are even in Congress. So excuse me if I will not be taking lectures from Jacob Frey about the net benefit of the immigrant population. All right, go to ScottJenningsShow.com for all things Scott. He'll be back tomorrow. Go to Twitter, X, whatever you're calling it. I'll always call it Twitter. Mark Davis, at Mark Davis, M-A-R-K Davis, 660 AMTheAnswer.com for the station where I'm the Happy Morning Show. Presuming I shan't see you in this block in the next few weeks, Happy New Year and very Merry Christmas. See you next time whenever I'm here on the Scott Jennings Show. Scott's back soon. Be good.
Hey, it's Scott.